should let me love you forever, forever. I wanna love you. Will you let me love you forever, forever and a day, 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 day.
Woohoo!
Hello. We are back.
We're back in the good old US of A.
The old US of A. Shish kebabs. Shish kebabs. Shish kebabs. You guys, we are back. We are covering 90 Day The Last Resort, episodes 14 and 15. Shout out to the live chat. Hey, girl.
Hey.
I was traveling last week, so we are catching up. I feel like we're always catching up, April. My bad.
Oh, you're perfectly fine. Hey, Christina. It was lovely. Oh, shoot. Sorry, I'm dropping stuff all over the place. Sorry, y'all.
So yeah, we were both traveling actually, so that's wonderful.
Sometimes we need a break.
You know, sometimes you need a break. Sometimes you just got to live life. Sometimes you got to prioritize, you know, all the good things. So, but we're back, and you guys are our priority. Welcome to the Melanated Way. That's April. I'm Linda. Let's just jump right in. Episode 14 was called The Last Insult. And let me tell you something. I am insulted by a lot of these men. I don't know if it's the Canadian clear air. I don't know if it's just being around family. I don't know if it's because I'm getting older, but like some of this stuff, like I just don't understand. Like, why are we here? A lot of these relationships seem very, very toxic to me. And it seems like I'm a man hater, but I'm not. A lot of the men are very problematic.
Correct.
In my opinion.
And in my opinion as well, we don't have a single good representative for malehood on this show.
Except I want to say, if I had to choose someone, I would choose Florian. And the reason why I would choose Florian is that he's open to communicating. He's open to correcting his mistakes. Is he perfect? Absolutely not. But the rest of them are like gaslighters and love bombers and honestly controlling.
Yeah. Actually, you're right. I will agree. I in my mind, I separated Florian from the rest of these men. I do think that he's good. I think he would be even better if his vocabulary was a little bit better. That's not a like a ding at him, but I feel like if his English was better, we'd see even more greatness from him. But there's some things that he just can't communicate as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
Not saying anything bad about him. Like if we were in his language, I feel like he would be talking a lot more.
Agreed. But again, I do think that Stacy has the best relationship out of these
Absolutely.
people.
Hands down. So, even with Darcy coming in like she is, I still think that they are far and away the best relationship.
100%. 100%. Okay, let's talk about Sophie and Rob. They had a therapy session. Sophie is still convinced that Rob was texting girls while he was at their retreat. And, you know, the biggest issue with these two, and they've even called it out, and we'll talk about it as well, is their communication. They, I think, are very immature for their ages. And I don't think that they have the tools necessary to communicate for a long-lasting, healthy relationship. So they need to navigate their feelings. They either have to accept everything that's gone on and move forward, or not accept it and separate and move on. And then my note says, is Rob not a communicator? Because I just really feel like he's not. And I don't think Sophie's a good communicator either. She tries, but she gets caught up in her feelings and therefore doesn't listen. And then Rob just takes everything in and doesn't communicate how he's feeling. He communicates to camera, but not to his partner. I find that very odd. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts?
Can I tell you, I thought that the therapist failed them in this session. There was like one basic thing that I wanted to happen. I wanted the therapist to say, what is cheating to you? Let's come up with a definition of what cheating is and what is acceptable in your relationship and what's not acceptable, because it has become very clear to me that they are not operating on the same page as to what cheating is. And Sophie even said during the session, I didn't say you were cheating. I said you were talking to other girls.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what is it that's upsetting you then? So like
Right.
I just wanted them to be pointed in the direction of what is okay and what is not okay, because they haven't had that. And I don't really think the therapist was helping them with that. I think along with all the things that Linda tells you need to talk about in your relationship, you need to talk about what is cheating. You don't
Absolutely.
assume that you both have the same definition of what is acceptable behavior.
And why have you not talked about this beforehand? Y'all, when you get in these serious relationships or you're getting married, these are conversations that are pre-conversations before you're already, what is it, 10 toes deep, 10 fingers in?
10 toes down.
Whatever. Same. You have to. You're already invested. Why not have the conversation before you're invested? Because if you're not on the same page, why spend all this time and energy? Find someone that's on the same page as you. Florian and Stacy. Okay, there's so much to talk about here. So, Stacy is upset with Darcy, and for a lot of different reasons. And I feel like this has been brewing over the years because they really have come as a package deal. And I think that now that Stacy is, 9 years into a relationship, she wants a little bit more individuality, and she also wants to spend a separate time away and apart from her sister with her husband. And I think that that is healthy. I think that that is normal. And unfortunately, I think that Darcy does not want to have that break. And Darcy is convinced that everything that Darcy does, Stacy has to do. Darcy thinks that she's older and therefore wiser. And she continues to talk about the 7 minutes, 7 minutes older, 7 minutes older, as if it means something. And Stacy takes it as in, you think you're above me. And a bit of me agrees that she might actually think that. She thinks she's the boss of both of them, in my opinion. So she lashed out at Darcy the night before. And now all three of them, Darcy, Stacy, Florian, are all at therapy. And I'm air quoting therapy because I'm very disappointed in all 4 therapists that are at this resort this year. Actually, I'll take it back. The sex therapist, she's giving real tools. The other 3, I think it's just like lip service, and we're getting talking points. We're actually not giving these couples the tools they need to take with them and incorporate it in the relationship after they leave the retreat. The only person that I think is doing that is the sex therapist. That being said, Stacy, Florian, and Darcy all meet up. Darcy says she feels like she's the older protector. The twin bond is really important, and it's important for their family structure. And at the end of the day, that's all you have. And so she's really locked in on this, right? Now, Florian is kind of stuck in the middle because he sees Darcy as his family. He sees Darcy as his sister, but Stacy is his wife, right? So he has allegiance to both. Now, my question to you, and to also the live chat before I move forward, who is your allegiance to? Is it to your sibling or is it to your spouse? April?
I'm laughing because so I was trying to find some like sympathy for Darcy. And I remember when my sister closest to me was getting married, and she asked me for the key back to her apartment, and I threw an absolute shit fit. I didn't even see it coming. I had no idea that I was going to be so upset about it. But that's what I was thinking about. Like the loss, I felt a very deep loss in that moment of access to my sister's space, time, and all of that stuff. Did I try to sabotage her relationship? No. I was just upset in that moment. I think, to answer your question, that when you get married, you are creating an allegiance to your spouse. And I
That is,
think that if your siblings are good siblings to you, they want your relationship to be successful, and they're not going to create a wedge in that allegiance and in that relationship.
that is the only acceptable answer. Your allegiance is to your spouse. You've now created a new unit, a new family that if you want it to grow, you need to water it and give it attention and allow it to be what it is. That does not take away from the love that you have for your sibling. Your love for your sibling is forever and ever and ever and ever. And if you talk today, 10 times a day, once a year, whatever, that doesn't separate that love that you have for your sibling. So, two things can be true, but your allegiance is to your spouse. Let's be clear, everybody.
Correct.
That being said, Darcy is not having it. A part of me hates to say what I'm about to say, but part of me believes it. Part of me is looking at Darcy, and Darcy has a little bit of jealousy towards Stacey, I think. And I think it's because Stacey has a better relationship, a better marriage than she does, and a better partner. We all love Florian. We can't say so much about Georgie because they're very different people. But Florian has a sense of, yes, he's the protector, but he's also the communicator. He also wants to make sure that his people are good. He's talked a lot about having his own siblings pass away. And so it's even more important to him, family. And he knows, and you see these in the episode, that Stacey is number one. But Darcy's kind of like his number two. And he's going to have to find that balance where your allegiance, if push comes to shove, it has to be Stacey. It has to be. So the therapist asked why they're so intertwined. Like, why are their lives so intertwined? And it's because they built their brand. They also have a business and a brand that is all about the Silva twins. And I think Darcy takes that really, really serious, right? And unfortunately, Stacey thinks it's too involved. And it's too involved in her personal relationships. And I agree with her. You got to take a step back, Darcy, and pay more attention to your own marriage and maybe get, a couple of girlfriends that you can be as close to. And then, like the therapist said, the one thing that I agreed with her, live your separate lives. Have time to miss each other so that you come back even stronger. You don't have to spend 24/7 with your twin or your twin's husband. And I agree, like late night 3:00 calls, or she goes to bed and then he pops out of the house and hangs out with the twin. It's a bit weird. It's a bit weird.
It is, especially when Stacey added the context that she had just had surgery. So she was just being left alone. I thought that was weird too. Can I just like a tiny little note? I thought it was so hilarious at the beginning of this episode how Darcy was just using all the amenities. She's like at the pool, she's in the gym. She was just...
Girl, I would too. This is a free trip. Let me get the best and most out of it.
I was like, Stacey's just like me. I take the toilet tissue out the hallway of my apartment building. Like, use up all the amenities.
All of them. All. Joslow's asking, are Darcy and Georgie still together? They're 100% still together. So Stacey wants to set some boundaries. And she has some insecurities about Darcy being closer to her husband than she is. And she wants Darcy to respect her boundaries and to respect the relationship that she has with her husband. And she basically said, hey, I don't mind you calling my husband, but can you not call late at night? And can we maybe just make it emergencies only? And that is a boundary that that's a healthy boundary. However, Darcy's not having it. Darcy took that to mean that Stacey's trying to cut her out of her relationship, wants distance, doesn't want anything to do with it. And Darcy's not impressed with the boundaries. And she takes it like, Stacey wants me out of her life. Fine, I'll be out of her life. Slow down. That is not what she said. She said, stop calling my husband late at night, which you should do. You have a husband. Sorry you can't talk to your husband the way you talk to your sister's husband, but you need to work on that on your own.
What is it called? When people go extreme like that, when you just say, oh, I just want a day apart, and then they're like, fine, you want to spend the rest of your lives without me? We can spend the rest of it. What is it called when people get so extreme like that?
I don't know, but I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So I also agreed with Stacy that Darcy is not owning up to her issues and the things that she's done. She's done some mean things to her sister. Can you imagine your sibling telling your spouse that they're better off single?
I can't. Not in any state of inebriation can I imagine saying something like that.
Not ever. Do you not like your sister? Because why would you even say that? Unless, and hear me out, you guys, because I'm going somewhere with this. Unless Darcy wants to sabotage Stacy's relationship. I said it. I think that she doesn't like the fact that she has the better marriage, that she's happy, that they communicate, they have good times, and they've been together for 9 years. Meanwhile, we know that Darcy and Georgie have had the ups, the downs, the cheating, the this, the that, the and it's just not the same. And so, the saying is, misery loves company. I think that she doesn't want her sister to be in this happy, healthy relationship because she's not in a happy, healthy relationship and she's jealous. And I think that that's terrible because you're sabotaging, which is what I feel she did, right? So this is what happened. She randomly gets a call from her husband, Georgie, who's at the bar, again, with those same girls. You don't think that's the issue?
Mm-hmm.
Your husband calls, he's been kicking it with the two blondes, and you're out of town and he's still kicking it with the two blondes, but the blonde said, hey, tell Florian thanks for walking me home. And then you guys put a little extra on it. And all of a sudden it became walking him, the neighbor who's your neighbor, who lives in your same building, walking drunky home because she's drunk and you're being chivalrous. And, you might have saved her life, by the way, because who knows what could happen, right? You walked her home, you got her, you opened the front door, and then you pushed the button for her floor. And now all of a sudden, Darcy literally said, who knows? He looks guilty. Maybe he kissed her. Maybe they exchanged phone numbers. That's sabotage.
Sabotage. She went so far.
Absolutely. You added those things. Those things weren't said.
Mm-mm.
And then, you know who peeped it? Florian. Florian's like, we didn't have any problems until Darcy came. Darcy came. She didn't like what she heard in therapy, where the therapist like, go live your own lives, make your own friends, spend time apart. So now, all of a sudden, her husband is cheating on her. And guess what the result was? She freaks out. They have strife in their relationship. And Darcy gets what she wants because guess where Stacy stays the night? With Darcy in Darcy's room. So Darcy's not alone.
Mm-hmm.
So Darcy talks to Stacy, apologizes, says, I love you. And then again, talks about how Florian is cheating. Stacy confronts Florian. It goes terribly wrong. And you have to also remember that she's also still healing from a previous time where he did actually cheat on her. And, it takes time to build that trust up. I don't know a lot of people that can do it. I personally am not one of those people like, you cheat, bye. Like, because I'm going to be a person that I don't like. I tried it before in the past and it's not for me. I need to go my separate way because I'm going to start to think all the things and I don't want to be that person. Can you forgive someone if they cheat?
Listen, I tried and the statute of limitations has expired, so I can talk about it now. Y'all, I almost ended up with an assault charge. It is not for me. It's not for me. It's not for me. I need to leave you alone. If you cheated on me, I need to leave you alone because I will go too far.
There you go. It's always the quiet ones, you guys. It's always the quiet ones. I'll just leave. And I just can't do it. I'll just leave. I don't need it. I just think that there's no reason to cheat. If you don't want to be with that person, just tell that person, leave that person, and then go be with the person that you want. You don't need to hurt this person and be greedy and selfish and cheat on them. There's just no reason.
Nope.
So again, I already said this, but Florian peeped what was going on. He's like, Darcy's creating an issue on purpose because she's jealous of their relationship, and that is all that needs to be said. Stacey needs time to process all of these things. But what I do like is that she goes back in the morning to her husband and communicates her needs, communicates what she wants, and how she would like him to act moving forward. Healthy communicating.
Just give him a little bit more time to talk. You know, I could tell there were some occasions where he just wanted to translate a little bit, like get his thoughts together a little bit and say something, and he just she wasn't giving him the time to do that. So that's my only criticism. Give him some time to think about what he wants to say.
Tanya says, if you forgive cheating, you don't get to throw it in their face that they're a cheater.
You know what else you don't get to throw? A tire iron.
You're a mess. You're a mess. Jocelyn said, I tried for a few years, then gave up. Even our marriage counselor told us to quit. Yeah,
you know why? I don't think that people really like talk about how much it changes you mentally when somebody cheats on you. Like the thing that I was having a really hard time with is every single time that I had a good memory come up, it suddenly got coded by the fact that now I know what you did. And that was what was killing me, because all the good moments moving forward, I couldn't be present with them. Like,
absolutely.
in that it changes you. It changes the way that you think, the way that you, even little things like if we're in the car together and I'm using my phone to navigate, are we using my phone because you're afraid I might see something on your phone? Let's use your phone to navigate. It just changes little interactions so much.
But that's what I mean. So it makes you someone who you're not. If you're not typically a jealous person or insecure person, those thoughts start creeping into your head because you don't now trust that person, and that person is giving you reason not to trust them. And how do you know it's not going to happen again? Listen, y'all, again, to each their own. It's not for me. What I'm not about to do is spend extra time trying to figure out if you're texting someone, maybe you like went out a little bit later, maybe you stayed out all night. I don't need all those things. I don't need it. I don't need to be thinking that way. My person is for me and I'm for my person, and that's it. If I am not happy, then guess what? I'm not happy. We'll have that conversation. If that doesn't work, then we go our separate ways and you go to be with who you want. There's no need to cheat. You're only cheating because you're greedy and you're in your moment and you're thinking about yourself and you don't think you're going to get caught. Guess what? You always get caught. Might not be today, might not be tomorrow, but there's somewhere in there that you slip up somehow because you're too comfortable cheating and being a cheater and selfish. And you know what? You get caught. Moving on to Josh and Natalie. I just want to say for the record, Josh, the individual, I just think that he's a terrible dater. I think he should not be dating until he stops gaslighting or go in a relationship where you really want to be in that relationship, because this is not it. Josh said he went on a one-on-one with James, and James asked him, what does long-term look like? This grown-ass 40-plus-year-old man could not answer. He said he didn't know. What does a healthy relationship look like? What healthy relationship goal do you have? I don't know. Can you let Natalie go if you had to? I don't know. I don't know was his answer to everything. Why? Because he doesn't want to be locked in to a true answer. His true answer is, I'm only doing this to be on TV. I don't really want to be with her, because if I wanted to be with her, I wouldn't have been stringing her along for 3 years. I wouldn't be gaslighting her up every 5 seconds. I wouldn't say that she's doing all the things wrong and we don't get along because she's the crazy one. Mind you, Natalie is crazy, but you knew that when you met her. So what? Oh, here
She
we are
was.
because she's on
Mhm.
TV. You threw a little money her way, and now you think what? That should be suffice. He gives you a little good dingling, and so what?
Josh told us that he went to therapy because he wanted to be proactive when coming back and before he saw Natalie again. Then they showed us the therapy, and absolutely nothing happened in the
Yeah,
therapy.
yeah. So he wants to start the night on a good note. Natalie's hopeful as per usual, and she really wants to work harder on the relationship. I hate how hard she is on herself about this relationship. I hate how rose colored glasses she's seeing this relationship. She needs to take those glasses off and see it for what it is. It's not a relationship. This guy is using you. He doesn't even really want to be with you. And if we could call it a long-term booty call, that's exactly what it is. That's
Basically.
it. He is not invested in you spiritually. He's not invested in you intellectually. He sees a pretty girl that he gets to bang every so often, and that's all it
Hmm.
is. Oh,
And get some notoriety
and now
from.
he gets to be on TV.
Hmm.
So Josh is full of compliments for Natalie. He is love bombing her to death. And when he said, April, quote, "You want me to take you tonight?" Friggin', I dry heaved in my
And
mind.
never have I ever heard such language.
I dry heaved. You know how tacky and like, I don't, who talks like that? Live chat, who talks like that?
But what was worse, when he said that or when he was just hovering in her face?
It was all of it.
Just.
Gag, exactly, Tanya. Gag. It's you. Then he kisses her. He's like April said, hovering all in her face. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Anyone can have sex, y'all. Don't waste your time on BS unless that's what you want. If you want to just be like, hey, I'm in it for the minute, then be there and be good with that. But don't be love bombing because you're trying to get in her pants and pretend to be in a relationship with her when you know she's very clear what she wants. She wants a husband. She wants a family. She wants all the things, the white picket fence, all the things. You don't want to give her that. So why are you wasting her time? I think he's terrible. I think he's terrible. I think he's terrible.
Yeah.
Gino and Jasmine, they're riding to this bar separately. Jasmine is there saying nice things about Gino and his head and all the things. Brandon's not joining tonight because he's taking a minute to really reevaluate his relationship with Julia. And I'm going to get to that as well because he is, listen, big baby, take the diaper off, put on your big boy pants, and be an adult. Because right now, this little temper tantrum you're having over seriously nothing is driving me crazy. They go to the social house. It's games, it's drinks. Julia explains why Brandon's not there. And here's my issue. So, one, he said that Julia cheated. She didn't cheat. They were not in an exclusive committed relationship when she went and kissed her ex-boyfriend. They were dating. And if you look up the definition of dating, dating is you're dating people. You could be dating one person exclusively. You could be dating multiple people at the same time. That is what dating is. Until you are in an exclusive relationship with one person with defined boundaries where you said, I'm in an exclusive relationship and I'm only dating you, then she should be allowed to date. So she didn't cheat, in my opinion. Second, when he said that when he said that she didn't have his approval to have her parents come over, y'all, you know, I'm not a big cusser, but I wanted man up and down around the town. Approval for what? So let me get this straight. You're the only person that is allowed to have both of your parents be your best friend, be up in your business. You give a key to your friggin' mother for your house. All of that's okay. You have them come in on your couple's therapy, and that's okay. They're your biggest supporters and you're their biggest baby, and that's okay. But she can't have her mom and dad come over for a visit because she doesn't have your approval, and that's why you're hurt. And then, because I'm on a tangent right now, I'm flopping a little bit into episode 15, but I'm going to tell you something. When he made his issue about him and about what he wants, and that she needed to do something to make him happy. And so now she's going to have a fucking baby. Excuse me, sorry. She's going to have a baby that she doesn't want because she's scared that he's going to leave her. Y'all are crazy out there. Babies do not save relationships. Babies do not save marriages. You know what having a baby does? Having a baby with the wrong person ties you to that person for the rest of your life.
The rest of your
life.
What
you're not about to do, y'all. Women, do not let any man gaslight you into having a baby.
Never, ever, ever, ever. Do not have a baby for a man. Do not have a baby for a relationship. Do not have a baby unless you are prepared to be a single parent. Like, in your mind, I'm not saying you're going to be alone. In your mind, say, do I want this if I'm a single parent? Because in the end, you're the one who's going to be stuck with the baby.
Brandon is problematic.
He is. And I want one of our themes to talk about, because not talking about them specifically, but using them as an example. A theme I want to address is, when does isolation become domestic abuse? So if you have someone who knows that you already don't have any friends or family nearby, you're the only person that they have, and your parents, and they want you to get further isolated by having a baby that you're going to be home taking care of instead of being able to make friends, go out, work, expand your life. At what point does that isolation become domestic abuse?
That's a good question. What's your answer to it?
So if I had a case where somebody was coming in and they're an immigrant and they want to file for VAWA, which is Violence Against Women's Act, and they say he's never touched me, but I'm not allowed to go outside unless I'm with him. I'm not allowed to go to the grocery store unless we're together. I can't go to the gym. If someone was to come in and tell me these kind of things, I would say, it sounds like some really strict control going on. It sounds like some isolation going on. And he pitched a fit when I said I wanted my parents to come visit me, or I wanted to sponsor my parents. It sounds like we can make a case out of that.
That sounds terrible, because you're grown, and when you met that person had a whole life, and maybe they didn't have a ton of friends, but I'm sure they had at least one or two. They had a whole family. Whatever that relationship is, that's their family. Now, it couldn't be me. What you're not about to do is tell me that I can't go outside by myself. What you're not about to do is tell me I can't go to the gym. What you're not about to do is tell me that I can't drive. What you're not about, my list goes on.
Mm-hmm.
That's not something that I would want to be in at all. I don't think that that's healthy. I don't think that, I think that the next step to that is a slippery slope, right?
Yep.
So
yep.
Is isolation a form of DV? In my opinion, it is. An extreme isolation is detrimental, not only to the relationship, but the person that's being isolated.
It's something to be aware of when you're operating in the world, you guys, not just with immigrant women, but any relationships that you look at. It's just something to be aware of, because a lot of times people don't know, unless they're being physically harmed, they don't know that they're in an abusive relationship. And it can take many, many forms apart from physical abuse. That's why I was really excited when there was a couple on several years ago, a 90-Day Fiance. I think the girl's name was Julia too, actually. She was with an older man, and the older man had a really good relationship with his ex-wife. And in the beginning, he took her to he wanted to get a prenup done, and it seemed very, very one-sided. But then at some point in the relationship, in the show, he got her a bicycle. And that bicycle made me feel more hopeful about their relationship, because she was allowed to go out, and they lived in a place where she could go to the ex-wife's house, she could go to the movies, she could go to the park, she could go. That bicycle allowed her freedom, which in my mind translated into, okay, he's not as controlling as I thought he was.
Juliana.
Juliana, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
They
just
didn't
something.
last though. She left him immediately, and she's now married with a baby, living like in Germany or somewhere.
Ah, well, good for her. Good for you, Juliana. You seem like a really sweet girl. But yeah, I am concerned. I don't know, their life outside of this TV show, but I'm concerned about a relationship where he is this upset by the idea of her wanting to have some love that is not from him.
Yeah, and again, Christina's asking, did she say he wouldn't allow her? That's exactly what he said. If you watch episode 15, he said she went and got a visa and I didn't even allow her. I'm paraphrasing, but the word
I
allow
think, did he
was
say it? He said without my permission.
without my permission.
Without my permission. How
Yeah.
do you tell an adult that they needed your permission?
Yeah, trash. And why are you so against it? Why are you so against her parents coming? Y'all
The
live with
the only thing that he said was that her parents are divorced and they don't get along. He's not given us a good reason why he's so against her parents coming.
and you lived with your parents with your wife for a long time. So I don't understand. Someone in the live chat said, well, it's different because Julia's not saying the full thing. She wants her parents to come live with her. So what? So what? They lived with his parents. That his parents have a key to their house. So it's okay for him, but not for her? I'm confused. Let's talk
And
about
they're
Jasmine.
coming in as residents too. So they're not coming in like they're going to be completely dependent on her. They're coming in as residents. They'll be able to work. They'll be able to get a driver's license. They'll be able to get a social security card. So it's not like they're going to be dependent 100% on them for the rest of their lives.
Listen, my argument again is, what's the difference? They lived with his parents. I'm trying to explain to me why it's bad that they're coming and living
Yeah.
with them if they are going to live with them.
Yeah.
What's good for the goose? I am full of them today. What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
You got that one right, Canadian.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you. Jasmine and Gino. Gino is very problematic. I'm not sure what this trauma is that he's living out loud, but he needs therapy. Because the way this man makes up stories in his head is crazy to me. I don't know if that's a Gen X thing. I don't know if it's just a Gino thing. I don't know, but I don't like it. So Jasmine comes over in peace, saying she's wearing a hat to honor him. She really just wants to sit down and talk about her needs. She is recommending or suggesting an open marriage so that they don't have to get divorced. It's called, and I just learned this in the season, ethical non-monogamous marriage. Again, something that's 100% not for me, but people do it and it's a thing, and that's what Jasmine wants. Jasmine tries to be super calm, explain that she loves him, explains either these are your options. Either be intimate with me during our time here, or let's sit and come to an agreement for an open marriage. She's saying, let's be intimate and fix this. Or if you're not going to be intimate, then I can't be in a sexless marriage. So I want to sit down and talk about what this looks like for us. Those are communicative words. That's how you communicate. These are my needs. Let's talk about it. Gino has a whole hissy fit, says no to both of those things. Then he's like, do you have someone in mind? Yes, she does. Because she's been thinking about it. Oh, you're a cheater then. You're cheating then? Is a friend from the gym? You're a cheater. And I don't want to be with a cheater. She's like, I haven't cheated on you. I've never cheated on you. But do you see how he's trying to manipulate her and make her the bad person? Meanwhile, this whole time, for 9 months of your marriage, you've been withholding affection and intimacy to your wife
Mm-hmm.
with no logic behind it except saying, oh, because she's not being nice. I need to see her 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Be nice to me in a row. What? Is that your child? Or is she an adult that you married?
So I do have some criticism for Jasmine on this, guys. I'm sorry. I am Team Jasmine. I am Team Jasmine, but I have some criticism for how she brought the conversation to Gino. And it's not completely her fault. I don't think the therapist set her on the right path to how to introduce this conversation. If you want to have an open relationship, polyamory, ethical non-monogamy of some sort, you cannot bring it up with a person in mind. You cannot bring it up as a way to satisfy a deficiency in your relationship. It's not going to work that way. It has to be something, it has to be who you are and what you want to do satisfied. I'm satisfied in our relationship, and this is also something that I want to explore. It cannot be born out of deficiency. It cannot. So when she brought the conversation up to him, I think a better presentation would have been, here's where we are. You know, we still haven't been intimate. Things have been going well between us. I am starting to get frustrated. You know, what options do you suggest? What do you suggest for us apart from just continued waiting? Because continued waiting is not working for me. And if he didn't suggest an option that she's comfortable with, if he's not the one who suggests, maybe we have an open relationship to satisfy you while I work out some things, he didn't suggest it, then it's not an option. That's it.
I'm
Because
curious
the
what.
moment, mhm,
Go ahead.
because the moment that she says, I am going to have sex with somebody else because you're not having sex with me, we've moved beyond what the idea of ethical non-monogamy is. It's not, you won't do this, so I'm going to go get it somewhere else. That's not what it is.
And what is it exactly again then?
It is, I am satisfied in this relationship. I'm happy with this relationship. I'm happy with who we are and how we are to each other. But as a person, I enjoy having multiple relationships at the same time. And so that's what I want to explore. It's not born out of a deficiency in my primary relationship. That's never going to work.
Yeah, I'm not even sure why they want to stay married. Like, why does Jasmine not want to be divorced?
She seems to really like him. Like we've seen over the years her put up with a lot of bizarre behavior from Gino of showing her, intimate photos to other people, of having intimacy issues off and on, of having performance issues in the bedroom, and she still wants to suck that man's toes. I mean,
Yeah, no,
we've
I
seen her
mean,
really like him.
I'm not sure what it is, and you're right. She does really love him, but she can love him and be friends with him, and then go and be in a relationship that fulfills all of her needs. Because I'm not sure whatever that trauma he's holding on to, it's deep, you guys. It's deep, and so deep that he won't even face it. He won't
He
even face
won't.
it. And instead, he's using that toxicity to try and control Jasmine and make Jasmine the bad person. And I just think that he's another one that is very problematic. And the more we get to know him, the more problematic he becomes. And I don't know if y'all noticed, but he drinks a lot, a
He
lot, a lot.
does drink a lot.
That's all he wants to do is drink. And thinking that the drinking is going to drown whatever trauma you have. Don't know. So Jasmine gets really upset by Gino's response. She talks to Julia. Julia feels protective and, tells Gino, listen, Jasmine has never cheated on you. She's not ever cheated on you. She loves you with her whole heart. So stop saying that. And again, he's saying that to control her and to make her the bad person. And I just don't like it, you guys. I just don't like it.
So me and Linda are about to disagree. I do think Jasmine cheated.
I don't think she's cheating.
I do.
And
let me tell you why. Okay. She says that Matt is a friend, and she only thinks of him as a friend. But she has had conversations with him that if her relationship does not work out, or if Gino is okay with having an open relationship, then she does want to be intimate with Matt. He knows that. She called him up in the last episode before this with the other girls in the room. They all chatted with him. He knows what's up. He knows what's going on. Should you be having those conversations with someone outside of your marriage? No.
I mean, that's fair. And we can talk about, emotional affairs and whatnot, and whether you consider that cheating or not. But yeah, that's a fair statement. That's a fair statement.
That's the only thing that I think, okay, the way she presented the conversation to Gino, I don't think that's her fault. I don't think the therapist set her up well to go into that conversation. I think she did the best that she could. But her conversations that she's had with Matt, that's on her. I do blame her for that. Other than that, I am Team Jasmine because she is trying her very best to try and figure out how to make this work.
Yeah, and my question, and if you guys know the answer in the live chat, let me know. If you're watching the replay, let me know. Why do you think she wants to stay in the marriage? Like, I just don't get it. Yes, she likes him. Yes, she wants to, do all the things with his toe, but like, it seems more unhappy than happy. And
more of us stay in bad relationships longer than we should. I mean, isn't that just natural?
I need to know why.
but in this specific case, why? I don't know, because she could make a life somewhere else on her own. She does. I mean, even just financially, it looks like she does very well making money on her own. So I mean, it's just love. It's just love. And who among us has left a relationship the moment we should have? All of us have stayed too long.
I mean, I've done both. I've done both. There are some that I've probably left prematurely. But here we are. All right, episode 15. Julia didn't go home to Brandon. She stayed in Rob and Sophie's room. She wakes up. She's all high energy. And I just love this scene because some people are very high energy in the morning and some people are not. And that dynamic is a crazy dynamic because the person that's high energy, like that's just who they are. They wake up in the day. Let's start the day. Hoorah. Woo. Some people like don't talk to me until I have my cup of coffee, and so I just find that whole dynamic interesting.
This was really funny scene, yeah.
What kind of person are you, April?
I think I'm slow to wake up. I'm slow to talk. Yeah, not I think I am. I just want some time alone in the morning before anybody tries to engage with me.
Yeah, I have a whole thing. So I need to have quiet time. I need to have prayer time and meditation time. I need to also have a coffee. I have a whole thing that I do in the morning, even before I like jump on social media or look at emails or whatever. Like I have a whole thing. And I feel it when it gets disrupted. I really do.
That's a healthy way to wake up.
Oh, yeah. Listen, I got a whole thing going on here. It's a new year, new me.
Good.
But yeah.
I'm doing good if I just get in one stretch in the morning. Just one frog position or something. That's good. Hey, if you're old as me, by the way, if you're old as me, I'm 44, you need to start stretching in the morning. Everything's starting to lock up, y'all.
So Sophie asks, okay, what's your plan? So if Brandon leaves the resort and your marriage doesn't work out, what are you going to do? And I really thought that this is something that you all Americans need to hear, because so often I hear that send them back. That drives me crazy as well. But she said, well, I'll go home. If her and Brandon get divorced, she's going to go home to her family, to her friends, and restart her life. And I really need you guys to hear that, because so many of you guys think, oh, this person's using for the green card, go home. All the like anti-immigrant stuff, even the stuff that's happening now. It's like, you guys, calm down. Calm down. Some
Yeah,
people
everybody does not want to live here.
No, not everyone wants to live in America. And some people are living in America because their spouse is there and they're here for love. So calm down. Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all just think the craziest things about
Yeah.
immigrants. And it drives me crazy as an immigrant myself.
My comments have been crazy lately. On the same token, like, she has the right to leave if she wants to. On the same token, somebody who wants to stay and already has their residency, they also have the right to do that. If they've built their life up over the time that they were with that person, and they have friends here, they have a job here, they have a home, they have a right to stay as well. That's their residency. So just because she's choosing to go home is not a reason to point at her and say, see, this other person should go home too if their relationship didn't work out. They have the right to choose either or.
That part, what she said there, that way. So Stacy leaves Darcy's room and she wants the truth from Florian. She's hurt, she's angry, and she wants answers. You know, she's also coming from a place where she was previously hurt and previously cheated on. I don't think that wound is completely healed. So she goes there. She's like, tell me the truth. And he told her exactly what he said the night before. I just walked a drunkie home. And Stacy's still upset, doesn't fully trust him. And I think what happened was Darcy opened up a wound that she knew she could open up. And now here we are. And now Florian has to work back this trust. And he even said, I worked for this trust a long time. Now Stacy doesn't trust me again. He's got to rebuild the trust, all because Darcy wanted a rift and she got what she wanted. But Stacy's willing to work on a relationship. She's willing to work on her marriage. And you guys don't forget, they're 9 years deep. So working on it is what they both want. And you can see that that's what they want. And that's what they're going to do. Do you want to add anything, April?
I think that's really, really harsh for Darcy to have poked at a wound in that way. That's a really, really evil thing to do, Darcy. Why would you want to hurt your sister like that? That's really evil. Okay, I'm done.
Tanya, I do not agree with you at all. At all. But we can
What is
agree.
a vampire lounge lizard? Is that a thing? Is that like a reference of some sort?
I don't know, but I don't agree with her. But that's okay. We can agree to disagree. Julian Brandon, he's packing. He's angry. Her parents are coming without his approval. And she's like, running away doesn't help. He's like, well, I'm hurt. And she's like, well, if you leave, you leave. And we can't say that we've done everything that we wanted to do to save our marriage. So let's go to this one last group therapy. Give us one more chance. And if it doesn't work, then, I'll let you go. But she's scared about her future. And this is where I was upset, because you can tell now that she is reacting to his tantrum. And she's scared about their future as a couple, their marriage, and what her life looks like if she's going to have to pivot. And so, as we know, and as April said, many of us have stayed in relationships longer than we have to or should. She's now thinking, wow, I'm going to have to make all of these changes and restart my life if we divorce. What she's not thinking clearly is this the right decision to make? Do I actually want to do the things that he wants and I don't want just to save this marriage? Think about it.
Don't do it.
Gino, we start to learn about more of his insecurities. So he's feeling not wanted and not needed. And in my opinion, he's playing the victim in this situation. His wife wouldn't want to go sleep with some other dude if he wasn't withholding sex from her for almost a year. And he's not willing to work on it. He doesn't even tell her why. All she knows is that he says that she needs to be nicer to him. It couldn't be me. It couldn't be me. I could love you as a person. I could appreciate you, all the things. You could be my best friend. But in my marriage, you have to be my lover too. What are we doing? Sitting around being pen pals? I don't get it. April, I don't get it.
I don't get it either because he won't even offer other bits of affection. She said that, if he would at least, be romantic in other ways, that would at least help suffice, but he wouldn't even play the different games that she was trying to cajole him into playing. So yeah, I don't get it. And he's not offering any alternatives. That's what my push would have been between the therapist and between Jasmine. I would have been pushing Gino to say, okay, fine. You don't want to have intercourse. Give us some alternatives. What are some options that you can give Jasmine? That's what I would have been pushing him to do. But nobody's doing that. They're all just going to open marriage, but nobody's pushed him on giving her some options. And if he finally says, I don't have anything to offer her, I don't want to have sex with her, then she knows she can walk away. Push him to give some options.
That's right. Agreed. I agree with you. So they're having this one last group, well, not last, but they're having a group session, therapy session with James and Heidi. And again, therapy, air quotes, it's very, close to the end of the resort, they're going to talk about trust. That was the topic. And so they're going to do a trust building icebreaker, things you trust about your partner, and the couples list their things. So Rob and Sophie, Rob, we didn't actually hear what his was. Sophie says that she trusts that he'll look after their son, and their son is their dog. But we find out that the dog was actually his dog. He had the dog for like 8 years prior to her coming into the picture. So I just feel like here again, shows they have communication issues, which is what they said their issue was. So let me back up a little bit. The therapist said, for your issues, when you're hurt, you get a Band-Aid and you put a Band-Aid on it. So what are your issues and how can we put bandages on them? Now, I'm going to tell you right now, this is where all of them should have said, you guys are terrible therapists. And why you're terrible therapists is if you have a gaping wound, you're not going to put a Band-Aid on it, okay? At the very least, you're going to put gauze on it, and the gauze is not going to stop the gaping wound. Guess what you're going to do? You're going to go to the hospital, you're going to go to emergency, and you're either going to have surgery or you're going to have a professional give you the tools that you need to stop the wound, to fix the wound. What they're not going to do is throw a Band-Aid on it.
No, you got to clean that junk up first.
So that was that's where they lost me. I was like, oh, so we're just going to friggin' throw a Band-Aid on all these broken marriages and call it a day? That's where they lost me. So that being said, Rob and Sophie, communication was their issue. Brandon and Julia, what was their trust thing? Well, Brandon, again, in my opinion, putting the seeds of manipulation out there, said he trusts that Julia will do what it takes to see our family prosper. That was
in the way that
manipulation.
in the way that he defines it, because obviously it's not defined to include her parents.
Nope, because he says he wants a family and he wants her to do something to make him feel better. So he wants her to go get a second opinion at a fertility doctor so that he can get what he wants. That whole thing was manipulation, and not one therapist called him out on it.
No, they congratulated it. That this is the worst. This is like out of all the terrible things that these therapists have done in the show, for not a single one of them to say, wait a minute, this decision about your body should not be a negotiating point in your relationship. It only gets decided based on what you want for your body.
And she already said, therapist, that she was not ready. So why are you congratulating her on saying, yes, I'll go, just to make her husband happy when she said she was not ready? Are you guys not thinking of the kid? I just, what?
I don't this was horrible. This was worse than like I was upset with them when they were trying to encourage physical affection between Ari and Benny when Benny said that he wasn't comfortable. Like that was bad, but this is worse.
It's really bad. In my opinion, it's really, really bad. So Florian and Stacy, what does he trust? Everything. He couldn't give one thing. He trusts her with everything. And I believe him when he says that. And she trusts that he's a protector. He will always protect her and the family. And their issue was listening. And I agree. And Stacy knows that she talks over Florian. I think that she needs to take a little bit of time and, like April said, allow him to get his words and thoughts out, because English is not his first language. And so he wants to communicate with you, but you're jumping into conclusions and you're cutting him off because you already have preconceived what you think he's about to say. So if you take a step back and allow him to actually finish his thoughts, you guys might be further along in listening and communicating with each other. You want to add?
No, I agree. Completely agree.
Jasmine and Gino. Jasmine says, oh, we didn't hear what Jasmine's trust was, but we heard Gino's, that he trusts that Jasmine loves him and that any room that she goes into, she'll brighten up her room. Their issue, again, he made it about himself. Spending the night out, her going to the gym for hours. He wants to know Jasmine's location, wants to turn her location tracker on. And if she does that, he may consider an open marriage.
Which is where the therapist again failed.
That's what I was going to say. Go ahead. You take it from there.
So if she agrees to turn her location on, would that make you feel more comfortable? Who suggests that? What kind of therapist suggests that? Most therapists would be like, okay, you need to get to a healthy point where you don't need to check your partner's location all the time. What therapist suggests turning on your location as a way of regaining trust? That's insane to me.
It was bizarre.
That's bizarre to me.
So James says, so Gino, if Jasmine turns on her location, then you're open to this open marriage? Is that the question you ask? That sounds wild to me.
That was really wild.
Natalie and Josh, when I say I hacked a lung up because I was laughing so much. Natalie's good TV, y'all. She's good TV. She says the craziest things, like even that thing she was talking about in Infinity, and then the snake, and then I don't know, like she goes up in these crazy tangents. But whoa, this when she said that Josh is a genius and that she admires him, he's self-made man, and that she trusts his decision. I said,
who are we talking about?
Who's a genius?
Yeah, the cut to Jasmine here was perfect.
When Jasmine said, Josh, a genius? He's a dumbass.
I knew that Natalie was crazy.
If he's a genius, I'm Nobel Prize Jasmine, she said. And I cracked up.
She said, if Josh is a genius, then I'm Marie Curie. That was really, really, really funny, Jasmine. That was really funny.
Yeah, it was. It was really
Oh,
funny.
also, just back up a little bit. Rob said something smart, so I have to give Rob some kudos. He said, "Open relationship is not for Jasmine and Gino. Jasmine is jealous and Gino is insecure." Apt. That was an apt observation, Rob.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to give him his kudos.
I do, but like, I need him to that same energy in his own relationship. If you're so
Mhm.
aware of others, then you should be more self-aware about your own relationship because he's
I
not.
will. Yeah, he's not. But I will say, did you notice in these 2 episodes, he was trying really hard to refrain from commentary on other people's relationships in the group settings? Like
Mm-hmm.
he even told Sophie at one point, "That's not our relationship. Let's not like let's just back up a little bit." I
Which,
think, obviously he has issues, but I think that was very smart of him.
yeah, it was good. It was good.
Okay, sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I'm thinking, he needs to work on his own.
He does.
It's easy for all of us to talk about other people's relationships. It's hard to talk about your own and be the wisdom in your own relationship. He needs a little bit more of that, I think. Issue with Natalie and Josh is they don't respect each other. Duh. And so before their fights get too crazy, they implemented a safe word. That word is infinity that we just talked about. And then this is where Josh gaslighting comes in. She wanted to say something. You saw her like think about it. Should I say it? Should I not say it? And then she says it. She's been in this relationship for 3 years and she's never seen where he lives. Therapist is like, well, what's the problem? Why don't you just bring her over? And he gaslights and says, well, we've only been getting along for 2 hours.
Out of the past 3 years, Josh?
What?
That's been your
Why?
reasoning for the past. But yet you were okay inviting someone that you didn't even know, Sophie. You invited her
Dear
to
James
Vegas.
and
Oh my gosh.
Heidi,
Who
what's
said
happening
that
here?
earlier? Somebody said the funniest thing earlier about Natalie should have said, I'm not going to be able to find it. Oh, yeah. Natalie should have said, take me to Vegas.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
When he said, you want me to take you, that should have been her answer.
Yeah, take me to Vegas. Exactly. My question to James and Heidi is this. What are y'all doing to these couples? What tools have you given them that they're going to walk away with from this resort that they're going to be able to implement and continue to use outside of the resort? Because I just don't think this is a great introduction to people who've never been to therapy, who are like, I'm in a relationship that maybe I want to do a little therapy, and they watch the show with maybe even their partner, and then this cockamamie stuff is coming up. So James and Heidi, I need some answers because I know that you cannot think that Julia having a baby when she doesn't want one is okay. For Rob and Sophie to not communicate and not to address the fact that she thinks cheating is one thing and he may think it's something else. Florian and Stacy, they need to communicate more, but you're not addressing that English is a second language. And even when you asked him to be more thorough and he said he couldn't think of anything, you didn't press on that. And then Jasmine and Gino, can we talk about what April said, what is it called? Non-ethical monogamous relationship. First, explain what that is so that they actually both have an understanding of what it is. Then call Gino out on him withholding intimacy in his marriage and why that's not okay. And then can we just say to Natalie to her face, James and Heidi, that she is not in a relationship. She's being used for her body. She's being used for her body, and address the fact that Josh gaslights her. And he says stuff and you guys let him get away with it. I'm just like, who's the therapist here?
Yeah, who's
in
the therapist?
control?
You guys are. And then the one overarching thing for me that nobody ever says is How much are you truly trying to communicate with your partner when you don't even know the basics of their language?
That's it. That's it. That's
Like
all I
how much
got.
when they were asking Florian to give more details on what he trusts Stacy with, I could be wrong. In my mind, we've just reached a limit in vocabulary. And if I want to be a good partner to you at that moment, I'm going to start throwing out some words in Albanian. He's Albanian, right?
Mm-hmm.
What about this? What about this? What about this? Like, help him. Nobody ever talks about the lack of effort displayed by the American partners in these shows in helping their partner to communicate in their own language. There's too many words. Even somebody as fluent as Jasmine, there's too many words in every language for it to be one person's responsibility always to live in the other language.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I'm going to end with this. Tanya says these couples need real therapy. I hope the producers put them in touch with real therapists. Facts. That's it. That's all we got, you guys. We are going to be back again. We're covering the new season of 90 Days, so make sure you're going to check us out. I can't give you a date yet because I haven't discussed it with April, but it will be soon. And we'll be back next Monday with more of this, The Last
Yes.
Resort. Don't forget
Yes.
to like and subscribe, you guys. Like and subscribe, and tell a friend. Tell a friend.
Tell
Help,
a friend to tell a
help
friend to
us.
tell a friend.
That's right. Help us grow our channels. Abby the Attorney and 90 Day the Melanated Way. We'll see y'all later. Are we doing TikTok today?
Yeah, you want to do just a few minutes on TikTok?
Yeah, we'll do a couple minutes on TikTok. Heading over to TikTok, if you guys are there, head over to Abby the Attorney. I'll see you guys later.
Bye bye. Ta ta. This is so much fun.